Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Shanus, and in today's video, we are going to be utilizing this little guy right here to update our navigation system. Let's get to it.
Hyundai Power.
Alright, so today's video, it's early. I'm actually at a Cars and Coffee, but I'm going to show you guys the updated navigation just because I'm actually going to update it once more. But I've been meaning to do this video. So right off the bat, forgive me for the reflection, but as you can see, it's a different theme altogether. I'll try to shoot pictures so you guys can see it without the reflection. But essentially, all right, guys, so I'm re-recording some of this just because there was a lot of glare in some of the aspects from prior. I'm going to basically show you differences in the updates from the stock to the April update and then this new November update. So currently I am running the November update, but there are only a few changes as compared to the initial one. So for those of you that have not updated this at all, the first obvious change is going to be this front screen. Gone are the 3 individual tiles in favor of this nicer setup. Now there is 3 differences on this screen from the April to the November update. The first one being that on the April update, right up here in this corner, there was actually the user profile selected along with the picture of them. And I'm covering it up, but here in the corner now, along with the actual temperature or the temperature outside, the weather, it will actually also show you the current location. The third, which I will show you, is that, as you can see, this map right here is actually functional. When you drive around, it'll actually move. And if you set up navigation, it'll also kind of be there. But they've changed something where you can actually change this particular icon that represents the vehicle. So again, I'm only covering this up because I don't want to show you guys my physical address, but that's neat. Now, removing that, we have the front screens, which the biggest takeaway is, of course, updated icons. Really nice, so much clearer. Big difference here from April to November is the addition of this valet mode, which you should have seen in the previous splash screen where I was showing you the updates. They've made mention of this, and of course you can just kind of go through these things, but nothing changed drastically here. Now again, I'm just going to show you some of the changes that happened from the stock to the first April update, and aside from, of course, the theming, there's quite a lot of changes, quite a lot of quality of life things that I personally appreciate, so I'm going to jump straight into those. The first one, of course, is theming. Theming has changed. The other updates, of course, the major ones are all around music. So the first thing is, if you go to radio, you're actually going to see that we have this new like tube amp style tuner. But the biggest takeaway for me is that this is actually so much cleaner than the previous one. You can actually access things that previously were harder to access. First of all, you could turn off and on the HD radio feature. You can actually, set up your little presets here, change between FM, AM, XM, go through it, and then of course your Bose center point. Now, because I'm underneath an awning right now, it's not getting the full information, but here, normally it'll read here. Let me just switch a radio station. So I'll show a clip of another video that I did just to kind of represent this, but here you'll actually see the station and of course the music that's being played. Sometimes it'll show up in this top left corner, which you can kind of see right here, but normally it's here. Oh, look, it pulled up right now. So showing you the information. If you have a really good connection, it'll also actually show you the artwork of the particular song if the radio station supports it. And that's honestly pretty neat. And then of course, if for whatever reason that station happens to have 2 radio wavelengths on the same channel, you will actually show a 1 or 2 digit so you can swap between the channels accordingly. And of course, as you can see in this video, at all times you have the split screen access, which leads me to my second update. They updated the provider for the weather forecast, and this one's actually kind of a welcome feature because not only does this one go with the theming, gone unfortunately are the colors, but you actually have, rather than just one day, you actually have a full week's forecast, which is rather nice. Something that we didn't have prior, but new to the November update is if you scroll through it, there is a calendar feature, and this I'm guessing is if you call Blue Link and you set up maintenance or any kind of repairs to the vehicle to visit the dealership, you'll have that there. Going down, you'll also see that we have the clock feature, of course. You can add or remove which widgets you like seeing. I have digital, but they've updated the analog, which I'll go through in a moment. They've added so many more styles. And then of course you still have your maps, which again just kind of shows you the location of where you're at, so that's kind of neat. And then of course once you collapse it, you get the full screen once more. Speaking of sound and media, they've updated that as well. So if you go to media, it'll go to default what you're connected to your device. So here, as you can see, it's my Bluetooth. Here's the biggest update here, which again I was kind of ranting about when I first got into the car, because there's older cars that had the ability to stream your album artwork and your playlist via Bluetooth. Well, with the April update, they've added, of course, just that. Another quality of life is they actually moved the playlist from the right side to the left side, so that's actually kind of nice. It's closer to you, makes perfect sense. We'll actually show you the length of the song and of course where it's at, and it'll always show you the album art, so long as for whatever reason you don't have like a weak connection. Let's say you're connected to Wi-Fi because you're too close to home. Also, both center points, once again, easily accessible, and this is actually where you will go and change other outputs, especially the calming sound. So if you go here to the list, for those of you Android users, you're probably familiar with this scheme. You'll go to media sources, and then here you'll choose sounds of nature, and of course that's how you get to the lively forest, the calm sea waves, and all those sounds that you like. Speaking of that, one other update which I can actually show you here is they've adjusted the theme to the volume. So if I adhere the volume, you can see that it is now a nice, smoother volume display. So love that. I don't think they added any new like sounds. No, I remember all of these being there. So again, nothing's changed here. But for those of you, the guys that like the sounds of nature, you have that. So another neat thing is that, let's say that you're perusing and you're just kind of, going through your menus or your navigation. Anytime the song changes, it'll actually give you a little pop-up. So there you'll show new artist, new song, their album artwork, and it disappears. Nice and brief little description. Once again, we'll try it once more. Nope, we got more K-pop. Nice. Also, so you're aware, of course, if you haven't noticed before, it gives you the update as well on the gauge cluster. It'll just show you briefly the audio source and the name of the song, not the artist or artwork, but it's there. So for those of you guys that were wondering, you have that. Next, I'm gonna jump into climate. I don't know if anybody used this, but I'm gonna show you a video of what it used to look like. This is actually relatively neat. It's off right now, but because it's off, I'm gonna show you what it used to look like. Forgive the glare on that one again, because unfortunately we had glare. This new one has been updated, as you can see. Now it shows completely different. Forgive the wind noise because I'm going to show you, but once you turn it on, it'll actually display the animations again if you're in heat or if you're in cool mode, as you can see the colors. But now the actual individual temperatures are displayed. So if they're in sync, they're going to go up together. So now for neutral, or I guess just ambient temperature, you have white, and then once you start getting heated up, it'll change accordingly to red. That's weird. So it did show red, but now it's like on this like weird purple. But yeah, anyway, oh, I see, because it's changing where the source is coming out of. So sorry, I had it on auto, so there we go. It's showing you that it's coming from your feet and from up. If you're just doing up, it'll show you that, and likewise. So that's pretty neat. It just gives you a little animation of the source of where your coolness is coming from. We'll show you one more time with the blue. Oh, now this has both legs and upper area, and then of course if you do front recirculation, changes there. So this is kind of neat. I like it. Of course, if you decide to not sync the temperatures, and let's say your partner is a person that's relatively easily cold, then you'll show the difference in the temperatures, also the animation. So that's really cool. But if you're in sync, this little sync lights up to let you know. I'm not in auto, but if you were in auto, it also tells you that you're in auto. So that's kind of neat. The speed of the fan, so we'll drop it down to 1 so you can see. AC being on. If you turn off AC and you just want normal air, AC turns off. And then I don't know if it does anything for the rear defroster. No, I turned it on, as you can see. Nothing. So okay, interesting. But then of course if you turn it off. So yeah, kind of neat, especially if you kind of want to stay in this. Oh, and as you can see, song change while we were doing stuff. So again, kind of a little neat quality of life change. And again, just to reiterate, this theme is new for the November update, but I did show you the video of what it looked like in the April update. Finally, to touch base on the major updates that really happened between November besides the front screen is if you go to setup, there are some options. For example, in sound, you now have the ability to, when you go into radio noise, you can kind of reduce the noise reduction. You can maximize it, minimize it. So this is kind of to reduce the static. So that's kind of a nice and warm welcome. Most of the changes though are in the navigation section. So if you go here to nav and you go to map, you have a few things. So you can actually change the map color. This was standard in the April update, but the November update added the black scheme. So you could go from whatever scheme you want, but when you go into navigation, the built-in one, not your devices, it'll change the color of the map accordingly. The other one is the vehicle symbol color. This is actually brand new for the November update, that I recall at least. I'm pretty positive this was never in the April update, is you can now change the color of what represents the vehicle. You have blue, red, and it shows you on the side what it'll look like, pink, and green. The red is actually much brighter. It's more like this than that, so I don't know why it shows you that, but I'll show you in a moment. So I'm going to cover my location one more time. But if I go back out of the settings and I go to the, one more, and I go back to the main screen, now it's red, and it's a bright red like I mentioned. So that's cool. Of course, you have your music here, your progress bar on the song, and of course, if you tap this, you just get back to the music. But last thing I'm going to show you is your device connection. Before I actually go into the device connections, I did want to reiterate the last update as well. Sorry, this was also in the April update, but if you go to screen layout under the setup menu, so I actually changed it from digital clock to analog real quick, but you'll see this little gear. You'll select that, and now you have 2 pages of clocks. So again, a few more layouts, so you get to choose at your preference, but I went with that one real quick. And then so here you can also switch off split screen, but split screen doesn't really matter when you're on the main media hub. It only matters when you're on the device connection, because here, like I said, you could just hit that little widget quite literally, and you wouldn't have to worry. You can basically turn on and off the split screen essentially on the fly. So I personally wouldn't worry about it, but I'm just going to show you real quick. So here, split screen's by default off because I'm not using it. If I tap on this little arrow, you'll have it right there. And then I'm just going to show you the clock widget. So there you go. You have the analog clock. At any moment, if you want to turn it off, you'll just basically do that. And again, you have full screen. Now though, connecting the device, and we're going to go back to the setup menu. So as you can see, we connected, and immediately it's showing us the new song that's playing because it's technically a different source. But if you go to, again, in the setup menu, go to setup, and if you go to device connections, so this is kind of neat. This is where you'll have the phone projection settings. So this is where you will have the phone projection settings. Dumb thing is that you actually cannot access this specific menu if you're currently connected. So I'll tell you that. Now you have to re-enable any of the functions you want. Every time you update, this will actually turn off by default. It's really annoying. So if you updated to the April one or to the November one, just to give you a heads up, if you connect your device and you're like, hey, why is my Apple CarPlay or Android Auto not working? You have to come back here and re-enable it. I don't have an Android device, I have Apple, so as you can see, it's enabled. Now, for those of you that were on the original standard update, you'll know that you essentially can't have the full real estate of the screen. Even if you collapse that little split screen, you actually have to disable split screen within this setting. Now, here's the horrible news. If you have Android Auto, even if you turn this off, you guys, for whatever reason, still don't have the use with this update of the full screen. I don't know if it's a Hyundai thing. I don't know if it's an Android thing. I could have sworn it's the device manufacturers because Apple's basically projects whatever the phone software utilizes, but I digress. So you can go back out. I'm just going to hit my little star. I'm just going to hit my little star projection. And as you can see, we have this. Now, I'm going to touch base. You can fast forward if you're not an Apple person, but I'm going to explain this a little bit. This is actually now something for the latest Apple update Originally, when you would connect your device, you would essentially be greeted with this, the now playing screen. Originally, I won't lie to you guys, I was actually kind of annoyed by coming to this, but I've learned to love this and grown to love it just because it is just so much easier to, instead of picking up your phone and choosing your playlist, you actually have access to all that stuff right here. You can go to pre-selected stuff and of course just pre-selected playlists or your own library where you can access your own playlists. So again, it's actually kind of thoughtful. It's a little kind of a safety thing to make sure that your eyes are not off the road. So I definitely appreciate that. The last thing I'll mention for those of you guys that were on the fence about updating your Apple iOS, and again, sorry, I'm covering the map because I don't want you guys to know my location. This right here, when you have the full screen, if you don't update, it actually will minimize your music or podcast information. So it's actually in your best interest to update because I'm trying to find a song here. Oh, there we go. So before, it would scrunch up the it would scrunch up the artist and the song name, and you wouldn't have full real estate of the screen usage. Now you do. It's nice and expanded. Another thing, which is kind of minor, but as you can see, the background's different from most. So if you've updated and you actually go into your settings and you go to wallpapers, they've gracefully added new designs. Not that they're groundbreaking. I mean, these are kind of the old ones. Now you have a few new color schemes. So take that for what you will. It's kind of nice having that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just kind of showing you guys, unfortunately for the Apple crowd, that you guys can now use the full entirety of the screen, and it's quite nice. Hopefully they take into consideration Android users relatively soon. These updates, please do at your own risk. I had one person, I've only seen one person actually, in the forums state that when they did the first update, the one back in April, they lost their ambient lighting, their ability to adjust that. So I'm going to check out to see if we had that. The only other glitch that I've seen somebody had is that theirs had the Veloster N menu added to it. And they had like the little N icon here. Cool. Definitely, wish we could have it. Unfortunately, that's not something that, we're not a full N, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Oh, almost forgot. Should show you guys, this is the actual new software update. So it shows updated today, January 30th. And then so you can go ahead and pause if you want to see the specific update version, especially if you're having trouble. And because again, I've had no issues, but if you've had some weird quirks, maybe this is a good reference to see what version model you have as opposed to what I have, because I've had no issues. But I'm in the settings. I'm going to go back out to the vehicle settings. I always forget where these are. Oh, vehicle, and I believe it's under lighting. And we're going to go down here. Yep, lights. And we're going to go to ambient light. So as you can see, I still have the ambient light controls. I still have the ability to change the colors. So that's rather neat. Not something I lost. Unfortunately, you can't see it because it's daytime. But let me see if I turn on the lights. Oh yeah, there you go. You can barely see the red. So they're working. And if I were to change the color here, I'll change it to purple. Yeah, okay. We're working. We're fully functional. So I'm going to turn off my lights now. Or go back to auto, I suppose. And these will, yeah, see, they turned off. So, yeah, I didn't lose that functionality. For those of you that, hopefully not many of you have had that issue. If you want to change it, then I would suggest maybe updating to this latest version. Might fix it. I know that in some market, don't know where it's at. I don't know if it's European market or the Australian market. They actually, for whatever reason, don't have the ambient lights installed. So that would make sense on why it wouldn't show up on their software update. But if you're in North American market, there's no reason why you guys shouldn't have that available. So I just wanted to disclose that. But yeah, guys, hopefully this was an informational video for those of you kind of hesitant on taking the plunge because you've seen some glitches. I think it's well worth it. I love this main home screen. It's so much cleaner. And I love a lot of the little quality of life changes. The noise canceling with the radio, the way the radio looks, again, it just looks so much better in my opinion. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the theme, but it is cleaner. I felt like the other one was just a lot of clutter. Also, the changes to having Bluetooth, being able to actually display your actual album artwork from the actual stream. So if you don't want to plug in your phone, traditionally to like the USB, then of course then you have that option to actually have extra artwork and all that jazz. So yeah guys, again, let me know what you think. Hopefully this video, I know it's probably a little bit more boring, but you know, people have asked because some people have been afraid to do this. So but yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hopefully this was helpful for somebody. Thanks guys as always for all the love and support, and I will definitely see you guys in the next video. Bye.